Hello, everyone. It's Linda Ockwell-Jenner here again, President of Motivational Steps. And I'm excited to be here with my partner in crime, Sharon Bennett. We're having a video series kind of going on, and I think this is our third one. And we're going to be talking about what are the barriers to STEM. Hey, Sharon. What does STEM mean?
STEM is short for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Medicine. And we've been adding in art into that, so you'll hear it also referred to as STEAM. Why we're adding in art, I am not sure. I'm sure I could dig up the answer very quickly if we need to do so. But just so you know that you will hear STEAM as well as STEM.
Okay, you're not the only one. My husband Dave has no idea why the art's involved, and it makes me feel quite clever because I didn't know what STEM meant. So basically, I'm starting from the beginning. So we're talking about barriers, and we're talking about barriers particularly with females, young females, okay? Because we do have some females already in this world, but I think we're talking about young females. So in the schools, there's a unconscious bias. Is that the way to say it? Bias? Is that the way you say it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So between the students and staff, could you explain that a little bit more?
We have seen some studies that show that teachers, even though they don't realize they're doing it, they can actually discourage or encourage students from pursuing certain subjects based on their own unbiased conscience.
So that basically means they're not doing it maliciously. They're doing it because they think that's the right thing to do.
Correct. Okay, and I'm sorry, I misstated that. It's unconscious bias, not unbiased conscious. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. And I couldn't even say the word bias. Are parents encouraging the females in particular to go into this kind of world?
Oh, definitely. We definitely can see that in home, where a parent, you see the typical role models of what a parent does or does not do. And if you come from that very traditional home, moving into STEM or tech specifically, maybe something a female doesn't think about because it's not something they see, or it's not part of their DNA.
I've been in Canada now 25 years, and Dave followed on however many years later, let's say 19. There was a time when basically I'd go into the schools talking for motivational steps, and I'd say, show of hands, who wants to be in IT, in tech? And it was mostly the whole of the class. But I don't remember if any of the girls put their hands up, but I know the guys in particular. And that has slowly decreased, I don't know whether it's grown again, because I'm going back 17, 18 years when I first started my business, so that's interesting. You talk about harassment within the school system or within the females in tech?
It can occur in both, and I have heard and I've talked to females in post-secondary who definitely feel that they've been outcast or treated differently within their engineering programs.
Have you got any examples? We don't need names of people, but what kind of examples would they be treated differently?
I have one mentee who's mentioned that within her class, she feels that the professor directs more questions and comments to the males in the class, and she feels excluded.
And that's a male professor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any female professors doing this kind of work?
There's a lack of female professors overall. Wow. There's a lack of female leadership in technology.
Well, everywhere, I think. Bro culture, I am familiar with this, but could you explain it to the people who are not?
The bro culture is the boys' gang, right? The boys' club, which can involve in post-secondary or in the workforce. Everybody going out to the bar afterwards. And there's some really extreme examples of this where, they're going to the strip club. And as a female, you don't want to go to the strip club. And I've encountered that myself at a conference. All the gentlemen I were working with on the team said, oh, let's go to the strip bar. And I went, why? I'm not going there with you. And so we all know that networking happens at those events.
Yeah.
And if you're not there because you're uncomfortable, and you don't fit in, you're going to miss those opportunities.
Wow, that's difficult because I'm quite a shy person and I've never actually been to a strip club in my life. But my husband has, and I know hen parties go to strip clubs, but I didn't go on one of my hen party. But if I was in a work environment with men and they decided that was where they were going and I could take it or leave it, I would be very happy. That's quite rude and whatever.
Yep.
There again, I have been with a group of women where they've all decided to go somewhere and a few of us didn't want to go, but it wasn't a strip club. And we've talked about the bias. I can't say that word to save my life. So the bro culture, is it still around? I mean, has it been going a long time? I mean, have you noticed a change in where you would go after work with the guys, you know?
I think it's gotten better only because we as women have gotten more vocal and there's more awareness that this culture does exist. It has not gone away. I don't think it will for a long time, but I do think it's gotten somewhat better. But at the same time, I say that, and I think a lot of times when these after work events are planned or discussed, and the gentlemen make the honest mistake because they don't realize that it's not appropriate.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen that. And as soon as you go, wait a minute, that's not acceptable. They're like, oh, you are so right. I am so sorry.
Oh, that's lovely. You see, it's a little bit like I've actually been asked to speak about communication in the past, but at one conference for young women, it was brought in the guys hitting on women. Whether it's in the workplace, interviews, coffee meetings. But I have to be very fair here. Some women don't dress appropriately for those things. Doesn't give the other women a really good chance. I still don't think guys should, flirt with women, though, in that kind of situation. But I say, well, dress appropriately. If a guy brings in something that you're not comfortable, shut it down immediately. Don't encourage it. And that's the same as online. So again, we've got two different things going on there. What do you think will help the workplace in particular when you're working with guys and there's not many women? What could help the situation where everybody works together as equals and not... Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want everybody to be genderless because I want to stay a female. I don't mind what anybody else does, but... You males and females in a work environment, you're all at the same level. You're all there for a reason. What could help this situation in the workplace, do you think, if anything?
Just communication and everybody to be open and honest and to allow everybody to have a voice at the table to say this is or is not acceptable, appropriate, whatever it is. We have to be comfortable with expressing that. And I think sometimes we're not. And sometimes that's because we've been shot down so many times in the past.
Called troublemakers,
yeah.
Yeah. I have a really good example. I was at a local conference a couple of months ago, techie one. You may know the lady involved, but I wouldn't name the name. She was in a board meeting with 4 or 5 other guys, and they had one more vote to go on a really important matter. And evidently they all went for a break in the washrooms. When they came back, this woman said, because she'd gone to, are we going to have that last vote? And the guys had all voted in the washroom. And she goes, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. I wasn't in the washroom with you. So they retook the vote, and she did agree with the way the vote went. But I thought that was really rude.
Yes. But it's not. But that's the normal. And again, we're getting better. But it's not going to happen in my career.
I've got to be fair here. I think sometimes males and females can be very thoughtless, and I think it is down to communication. Dave and I have some communication problems, and he will say to me, but you're talking too much, it's not helping. And I'm saying, well, if you don't communicate, we'll never get this matter sorted. So that must go on in the workplace. And if it's a lone female, it must be so difficult for them to get their point over.
Yes. In my little team, my sub-team, I'm the only female with, there's 8 of us, I think, and we're all very technical, and I'm the only female. And sometimes, and again, after years and years of this, I tend to be a little bit more vocal now than I once was. But if I was in this team, 20 years ago, I would not be speaking my mind. I wouldn't have had the confidence to do that.
Yeah, that's how you've actually made a note here, which I just noticed, which kind of I touched on. Let's avoid gender stereotypes. Let's not say male, female. We're all equals in this job we're doing. Girls think they're not as smart as boys. That's definitely not right. What's this Barbie engineer? She's still curvy. My Melissa, who's not a child anymore, has Barbies, but I don't think she has a Barbie engineer.
So Mattel, and hats off to them. They really did try. Unfortunately, it didn't go over well. So they created Barbie Engineer. And her laptop was pink, and her headset was pink, and it came with a book, and I don't know, Ken's brother helped with the coding, and because she wasn't good at math, and it was like, are you kidding? And I get where they're coming from. They're really trying. So they made another attempt at it, and so now they have game developer Barbie, and so she's still, she's still a little curvy, but at least she's dressed a little bit more appropriately. And it also includes a coding course.
Do you think this is because a woman was involved the second time, but she wasn't involved the first time?
Yes, I do. I really do think
like a woman. You got some stats you wanted to share with us with the STEM, I believe, that are interesting. Do you have them there?
Yes. So one is when we talk about post-secondary education for women and minorities make up 70% of the post-secondary students, but less than 45% of them actually pursue degrees in STEM.
That's interesting.
And so some of that can come from bias from male professors, as we've already talked about. We also have a lack of females, obviously, in the classroom, as we've also talked about. And even at a young age, we're not promoting females or minorities in STEM. We celebrate actors and actresses. Yeah, we celebrate the Academy Awards. Yeah. We don't celebrate the Nobel Peace Prize. We don't celebrate the Nobel Prize for physics.
Why not?
I don't know why we don't.
Well, I guess somebody has to start it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. And it was really nice to see the professor from University of Waterloo who won it for physics this year.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I can't remember her name to save my life. That's bad.
Yes, I think it was Donna Strickland, if I'm correct.
Yes, I think it was, yeah. Absolutely amazing. You see, my problem is this. When you're an employee and you're having an exit interview and you're leaving what, everybody in the team deems is a really good job, male or female, a lot of companies say, well, can you have your exit interview with your manager and somebody from HR? So we can, we're losing people. We want to know why we're losing people. So surely people are trying to find out why there are not more young women in particular entering the classroom and diversifying and going into tech. Do we know? I mean, is anybody doing that kind of study or trying to find out from research why it's not happening?
Yes, and there's a variety of reasons. Again, it can be gender bias within the classroom at the younger levels. It could be a parent bias, as we talked about earlier. Do the parents encourage a young adult, a young female going into STEM? Are they trying to protect a young woman from going into STEM because they know how difficult that career can be? So there's many reasons. So
maybe educate the parents.
I definitely think we need to educate some parents. Yes.
Yeah, that's not dissimilar though. Again, it's nothing to do with it. It's not dissimilar to like parents who don't want the children to have sexual health education. They think it's their job. But then when you look at the stats for unwanted pregnancies, or not going to go there, but it's quite bad. So I guess parents may not want to be educated, but if they're holding the kids back in any way, it's got to be a conversation. It's got to be a partnership. This is a really, really good conversation, because we keep going back to the same thing, don't we? There's not enough young girls in the classroom from an early age accepted by the professors, maybe, or treated the same as the guys by the professors. And this is a problem. So maybe professors need to be educated. Who knows?
Oh, I totally agree. And we need to have, again, that unconscious bias removed if we can. I mean, it's what's ingrained in us is ingrained in us. And to educate everybody across the board, because if we don't start young and start fixing this problem at that level, we're never going to fix it in the corporate level, because the woman like me, we're looking at retirement, and who's going to fill our shoes when the numbers are continually dropped?
Yeah, I never thought about that part of it. Saying that, like, the whole world doesn't go, everything blows up in the techie world, and we have to start writing with pencils and pieces of paper and using calculators. You never know what's going to happen in this world, do you? Because, well, you just never know. This has been a really, really interesting one, because I wasn't sure, about the topic as much and the barriers involved in it. So that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about the next topic, Sharon. And we'll be back again. Thank you.
Thank you.